Yeah, it's full
Yes.
screen. Good afternoon, all. Today I'm going to present about evolved gas analysis. So let's recall some of the little bit. In Raja Sir's class, we had learned about thermogravimetric analysis, in which we learned that we put a sample here and we start heating it and measure the reduction in the mass, and from that we come to know how the sample changes with temperature. Then we learned about differential scanning calorimetry, in which we learn about the change phase change from solid to liquid or crystallization. And then we had learned was evolved gas analysis. So I will talk a little bit more about evolved gas analysis here. So EGA, it is the coupling of thermal analysis and gas analysis. So only from TGA we cannot understand much, we cannot interpret much from only TGA, because it only tells us about the mass change. Here see, we can only tell about the mass change that happens. We cannot tell why the mass change happens. But TGA plus EGA, evolved gas analysis, gives a much better interpretation. So from the EGA, we can come to know that this reduction in mass is because of the decomposition of carbonate, and this reduction in mass is because of the release of water. So there are two types of EGA techniques. First is the FTIR, Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, and second one is the mass spectroscopy. It can be coupled with GC, and GC will separate out the gases. So I will talk about them in detail now. TGA FTIR. This is the schematic for the TGA-FTIR instrument. So this is a TG thermogravimetric cell in which the sample is heated and the gas gets evolved. It goes through the transfer line and goes into the FTIR gas cell. Here the gas that is evolved is characterized and the absorption bands are tallied with the digital library to see what kind of gas is evolved. So this is how the instrument actually looks like. Here this is the where the sample is heated and this is where the gas is analyzed. So what are the advantages of this? It's affordable, there is no separate transfer line required, and there is no need of liquid nitrogen. Disadvantages is that non-polar molecules cannot be determined, and it is moisture sensitive. We learned more about FTIR from Debosmita's slide. I won't go into much detail about what FTIR is. So next thing is TGA GCMS, thermogravimetric analysis, gas chromatography, mass spectroscopy. So in here, in the TG cell, the sample is heated, the gas gets evolved, transfer line, and it goes into a column. The column separates the gases based on its property, its affinity to the stationary phase. Now, as soon as the gases are separated, it's sent into the MS, the mass spectrometer, and there the gases are characterized. Now it becomes very easy to understand what gases are evolved. Otherwise, it will come all together. Now here, this is how the TGA GCMS instrument looks like. What are the advantages of this? It can be carried out for symmetrical molecules. Remember, FTIR couldn't be carried out for that. And it's highly sensitive. It shows fragmentation of molecules. That's how the MS works. And there is a high transfer time. The disadvantage is that it does not show isomerism, it cannot show functional groups, and it is a bit costly and more time consuming, as it takes time to separate out the gases in the column. Next is pulse gas analysis. So in the two techniques, TGA and TGA FTIR and TGA MS, we could only characterize the gas. We could only find out which gas is evolved. We couldn't understand how much of that gas is evolved. In pulse gas, we can find out. We can quantify the amount of gas that is released. So this is the schematic. The sample gets heated, gas is evolved, and that same gas that is there, we keep injecting known amount of gas into the instrument. So using that injected gas, we can get a graph. We know how much amount of gas is evolved here and here. So we can quantify how much is released from the sample, from heating the sample. Now this is an example of pulse gas analysis. It is estimation of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide from heating of petrol rock. So I won't talk much detail about this. The case studies I'll talk about is the characterization of adsorbed gases on nanoparticles. So three types of nanoparticles, and three types of particles were synthesized by scientists. That is the YF3 nanoparticle, YF3 superparticle, and the LAF3 nanoparticles. So during the synthesis of this, several ionic species were introduced. One of them was acetate from the metallic precursor. For the metals, we need to add YAC. And next thing is the tetramethyl ammonium citrate as stabilizer. For formation of nanoparticles, stabilizer is necessary, otherwise it will get clumped up. And the next thing was ammonium as counter ion for fluorinating source. So all of them have fluorine, and we need a counter ion for that. So ammonium was the counter ion. So these particles were heated, and the gas that was evolved was characterized using EGA-MS, mass spectroscopy. And from mass spectroscopy, we get the M by Z ratio. For M by Z ratio of 16, 17, 18, it corresponds to the water and ammonia release. This is the mass spectra for entire temperature range. I won't talk much detail about this as it requires more time. So the next thing, M by Z ratio of 58 and 43 corresponds to the gas, it corresponds to the acetone that is released. It's released from the acetate. The M by Z ratio of 58, 59 corresponds to trimethylamine that is released from the tetramethyl ammonium. So there are many M by Z ratios that we can see here. It is due to fragmentation of the molecule. So the next place in which the evolved gas analysis is used is analysis of Martian surface. This is the Curiosity rover sent on Mars by NASA in 2011, and its main role was to investigate about climate and geology of Mars, and also to search for life on Mars. So it has one instrument called as SAM. What is SAM? SAM is sample analysis at Mars. So what it does, it searches for organic molecules and gases from the atmosphere and also from the solid surface. So this is how the SAM looks like. It has a QMS, that is quadrupole mass spectrometer, a gas chromatograph, and a TLS. It also has a machine called as the SMS, and that SMS takes the solid sample from Mars surface, and it heats it up, and the evolved gases go into the QMS GC and are characterized. So this is a YouTube video link about the sample analysis at Mars. It's very interesting. I won't show it now. You can watch it later sometime. So what was found out by SAM was there is a sudden increase.
You have 1 minute.
I'll do. What was seen by SAM was that sometimes there is a sudden increase in methane concentration. Now, that sudden increase in methane concentration can be because of two factors. One is that the microbes present in the subsurface, methanogenic microbes that release methane, or it might be due to water rock interaction in the subsurface. Now, it is not quite sure from where the methane came from, but discovery of methane is quite important. So the next thing that was found out by SAM was many organic molecules were found out. Like one of them was chlorobenzene. It was found in a rock called as Cumberland. They just named the rock Cumberland. So chlorobenzene is an important organic molecule, and the presence of organic molecules shows that there can be possibility of life on Mars. So many more things were found out. The solid that was obtained from Mars surface, it was heated up, and many inorganic gases also were evolved. So it included carbon dioxide, nitric oxide, oxygen, and even hydrochloric acid. So I would like to conclude my slide by telling some other applications of evolved gas analysis. So it's used in pharmaceutical industry, polymers, catalysts, natural products, and inorganics. It's also used in extraterrestrial planet geological and atmospheric analysis, as we saw just now. So I would like to end my presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Madhur. Question?
I have a question regarding the carrier gas and injected gas. What exactly is carrier gas, and why do we have it? For the pulse, I think the pulse gas analysis.
I will show you it. So in pulse here we see that so this comes from the sample that is heated up, and injected gas, that same gas that gets evolved, we put that known amount of gas, like some 10 parts of that gas is put into that sample. Even that gets characterized. So we know how much gas is gas we have put inside, and using that we can calibrate the graph, and we know that how much gas is evolved from the sample that we have heated. Did you get it?
Yeah, all right.
Any more questions?
Who else? Okay, if there are none. Thank you, Madhur.
Thank you.
It was a nice presentation.